I want to talk about weightlifting first. Can I do that? Can I talk about the lovely gym, the part James knows all too well, the bench press, the squatting rack, all the great things about the gym. Have you ever noticed that anytime you walk into a gym, it smells one like sweat, right? And it also smells like a musty old iron, right? You understand what I'm talking about? That musty old iron and sweat smell. Not a better smell in the world, right? When you go into that gym, you're like, it's time to go to work. It's time to get those biceps looking good. It's time to get the ladies staring at us because our bod looks like a model. You understand what I'm saying, right? Ethan loves it. He goes every chance that he gets. We like the gym. Well, some of us do. As a 6th and 7th grade student, I was terribly afraid of the gym. You say, why are you afraid of the gym? What's so fearful about a gym? Well, here's the thing. As a 6th and 7th grade student, I was weak. I was not strong. I could barely lift the bar on the bench rack. I can remember going to work out with some of my brother's football buddies and leaving embarrassed because I could barely lift the bar. And so I walk in as a 6th and 7th grader, terrified because I'm like, oh, I'm not good at this. And let's face it, as humans, we don't like to do things that we're not good at, right? We're all in that category. I knew that when I went to the gym, I would probably leave feeling inadequate. I would probably feel poor about myself. I would probably wreck my self-confidence. Not only that, but I would be sore afterwards. I would sweat profusely. And people potentially could make fun of me because I wasn't in that great a shape. You understand what I mean? Yes, and so it was a traumatizing experience as a kid growing up. But then guess what happens? Over the time of training, over the time of working out, over the time of going to the gym over and over and over again, you get stronger, right? You get from being able to lift barely the bar to next thing you know, you're throwing 45-pound plates on that bar and you're repping it pretty good, right? You will get there if you're not there. If you are there, you're going to get even stronger from there. Unfortunately, the gym starts off traumatizing, but then you fall in love with it, and the next thing you know, you can't wait to go back the next day. But as a 6th grader, as a 7th grader, I dreaded the gym. Anytime our coach would say, it's gym time, I would be like, oh no. I would be all sweating in class just thinking about what was to come. I would be all thinking, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, going to feel inadequate, and then I'm going to die. Right? You understand what I'm saying. That's a heavy load to carry as a little 6th and 7th grade student. That's a lot of stress, right? That's something difficult to handle. But I think life works that way sometimes. Sometimes life puts a lot of weight on your back, and you're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to rest. I don't know how I'm going to relax. I don't know how I'm going to make it because life is full of stress. Now this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever time of day it is, I don't know what those stresses are in your life. Some of you think to yourselves, I'm good. I have no stress. Others of you are so stressed out at the moment that you don't know how you're going to make it through another day. That you don't know how you're just going to brush your teeth tonight, much less wake up and go to school tomorrow. Some of you don't even know what clothes you're going to wear. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Life can be difficult. And it will continue to be difficult. But here's the thing that I have learned through my time in the gym. It starts off hard, but yet the more you train, the easier it gets. But what if, for a split second, you had a spotter with you in the gym? That's the kind of guy that kind of helps you when you need help. It's the guy that as you're bench pressing, you're laying down flat on your back with the little barbell thingy where you go from the top down to the bottom and push back up, kind of like you're doing push-ups. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. What if you have someone behind you when you start to struggle, when you hit that breaking point and your arms start shaking and you're like, I can't do it. You have someone lifting up that bar with you, helping you get to the top. What if you had that? What if you had that in life? When life started getting out of control, the storms were raging. Everything seemed to be going bad. What if you had a spotter in that moment to say, all right, I got you, let's walk, you're going to be okay. Tonight I'm excited to say that we have that. That we have that God in place who, when life gets at its worst, will steady us, He will calm the storm, and He will gladly not only walk us through, but more importantly, He will lead us through and get us to the other side. And so therefore, the next time life rears its ugly head again, guess what? We're stronger, we're more complete now because of the storms that we've walked through in the past. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the weight. The weight that we carry on our shoulders, the weight that we can't seem to get rid of, the weight that we're afraid to wake up in the morning because we know that it's going to be there. We know we have a responsibility. What do we do with this weight? Well, before we answer that question, the first thing that I want to do is begin to think about what weights you might have in your life. Because in order to overcome those weights, first we must know what those weights are. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're already thinking about those weights in your mind. The wheels are already turning. You're thinking, oh, I got school, I got homework, I got band practice, I got football practice. This is my first year ever to play football, and it's terrifying. I have this to do, I have that to do. This person's making fun of me at school. My mom makes me do all these ridiculous chores. Continue, moms, making kids do those ridiculous chores. Because it makes you tougher, makes you stronger, and before you know it, you're going to own your own house, and you're going to have to mow the grass by yourself. That's just what happens. But we have these weights. We have these stressors. We have these struggles. The negative noise we hear about our lives contribute to a feeling of inadequacy. The things that people say, the things that people do in our life make us feel less. That can be a heavy weight to bear. Some of you might find yourself there tonight. The constant stressors of life can hinder our level of happiness. Sometimes the joy that we have is dictated based on what's happening to us. When we're out living life great, scoring all the touchdowns, making all the great grades, having all the great friends, yeah, your level of happiness in that moment is pretty high. But when people turn their back on you, when people make fun of you, when people call you names, then your level of happiness is a little bit lower. That's the weight that we carry. It seems like we have a never-ending to-do list, right? Just a big mountain of projects, whether it be school-related, whether it be home-related, whether it be church-related, whether it be friendship-related. We have a massive mound of friendships that's taller than the flower mound right over here. Right? And it's tough to bury. That adds stressors, that adds weight on your life. And then when you top it all off, on top of everything else, on top of the good weight, the bad weight, all the storms, all of the other stressors from our to-do list, guess what? We also have a mission to seek and to save the lost in this broken world. And again, like we discussed last week, that's a big weight that you carry. We carry a lot of weight, and sometimes it drags us to the ground. Sometimes that weight causes us to not want to progress, causes us not want to excel, causes us to sit on back and let life pass us by. Why? Because life can just be hard sometimes. It's a big weight, and we feel like we have to carry that weight all by ourselves. Tonight, we have a spotter. We have a helpmate. We have a guy who will come to our rescue if we'll just listen and then learn from him. So tonight, as we went over that list, as you have even created that list in your own mind, know that you don't have to carry that alone. It doesn't have to always be on you. No, there's someone who wants to help. There's someone who wants to make a difference. Not only your own church family, but the God that you serve tonight. As modern-day Christians, we carry a lot of weight. We carry a lot of baggage. If you're flying on a plane and you had to take up that bag to place on the scale where you can't go over 50 pounds, understand what I'm saying? That bag feels like it's 200 pounds and you got to pay all the excess fees that go along with that. That's what life can feel like sometimes. But I'm here to tell you that there is someone who will see that bag that you carry that weighs 200 pounds, and he will make sure that you pass the required weight limit, that you will be under that 50-pound bag charge. You will find someone who, when you're struggling to lift that weight off your chest, will say, hey, I got this bar. Let's lift this together. You're not alone in this. You will have someone that's with you when you studied all night to prepare for that next biggest and best test, and he'll say, I'm going to help you remember everything that you just studied because you've worked hard for that, and your time is now. When you're writing all those college applications and you don't know how you're going to get in, you're going to have a God saying, I know the place I have for you, and I have plans to prosper you, not to harm you. You will get into the right college, but it's the college that I am leading you to go to. Tonight we have stressors, but we also have someone that's going to help us to overcome those stressors so that we can live not only a good life, but a happy and joyful life that the devil can't overcome. He will try, but he can never win. So tonight, if you have your Bible, let's look at Matthew chapter 11, verses 27 through 30. How do we overcome? How do we lift this weight? How do we progress? Even though it seems like 50 million pounds are on our shoulders, tonight we have a verse that's going to tell us exactly how we can do that. Verse 27 says this, all things have been committed to me by my Father. This is Jesus speaking. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Those are powerful words for Christ to say, because we understand how difficult life is. We understand the challenges that life throws our way. And Christ says, hey, I understand what you're going through, but take my yoke, because my burden is light. The things that you go through, I can help. I can give you rest for your weary soul. So look to me, learn from me, follow my example, and your life will be better. Let me read that one more time, 28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. I know as we sit here and think about that, we don't fully understand because we weren't in the context of that situation. We understand what difficult life can be, but we don't understand it at its worst. The people that Christ was speaking with at this time were the Israelites. They are some of the people that experienced the very worst. They've experienced slavery and death and traveling back and forth, wandering through the desert. They understood what it meant when life felt like it was 1,000 pounds. They've lived it. And even more, when you have the Pharisees putting laws that they had to follow strictly, it made following Christ more of a to-do list than it did the right thing to do. Here's an interesting stat that I want to share with you today. The Pharisees, they had 365 prohibitions, and check this out, 250 commandments. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine trying to follow that law and following that law well? I couldn't live up to that. If that was the basis for my salvation, I don't know if I can make it. Because that is a lot of laws. That is a lot of things that you have to follow. That takes a lot of effort, a lot of work. And on my best day, I probably could not live up to those expectations. That's a lofty goal. But Christ is saying to these people, take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Wait a minute. So you're here to tell me the God of this Bible, he had 250 laws that the people had to follow, and he's saying, take my yoke upon you, for my burden is easy, my yoke is light? That doesn't equate well. That's difficult. I can't follow all those. If I'm supposed to follow all those, how am I ever going to make it into heaven? Christ understands what the Israelites were up against in this moment. Christ understands the difficulty that people wanting to serve God are facing. You know, it's funny, if you continue reading this passage and you go into chapter 12 a little bit, you're going to find Jesus and the Pharisees not getting along too well. You see, Jesus and his disciples, they were pretty hungry. They were walking through a field of wheat. Guess what they did on the Sabbath? They were hungry. They stopped. They got some wheat. They ate it. What's wrong with that? Pharisees didn't like that. They called them out on it and say, "How dare you do that on the Sabbath?" And then even more, Jesus and his disciples were walking, and there was this man, and his hand was messed up. Jesus saw this, and he thought to himself, I know it's the Sabbath, but I can make a tremendous difference in this man's life. If I just reach out, I go to where he is, I heal his hand, his life can be forever changed. So that's what Christ does. That's who he is. He's a person that sees us at our worst and helps us, heals us, makes our broken heart not so broken anymore. Healed this man, and the Pharisees, they didn't like that either. It was like, it's a Sunday, it's the day of the Sabbath, which I don't know if the Sunday is actually the day of the Sabbath. Some interpretations say it's Saturday, some Sunday. But they say, how dare you, Jesus, perform a miracle on the day you're supposed to be resting? How dare you? I think the passage that we find here is a great moment where Jesus is just standing there in front of the Pharisees and saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? Do you think this is really what I'm all about? When I can't do good on the Sabbath? Are you kidding me, Pharisees? Do you not get it? Do you not understand who our God is? Do you not understand how gentle and how humble he is? Do you not understand how much he cares for people? Do you not understand how much he loves people? What are we doing? Therefore, he says these words, take my yoke upon you, for my burden is easy. His burden is easy, it's light, it's something that we can handle. Christ came to this world not to be served, but to serve. And he gave his life as a ransom for many. That means when he died on the cross, he did that to take away our sins. Therefore, he says, it's the scandal of grace. I came to love you. I came to show you that I care. I came to give my life for you so that you don't have to live up to these 250 laws that the Pharisees are all about. Because I understand that that is a hard task to live up to. If you try to carry that weight on your own, you will fail. But guess what? I came to give you life, and to give you life more abundantly. Christ is saying, I'm your helpmate in this moment. I am the man for you. I am the man who believes in you. I am the man who understood that you couldn't live up to these expectations. So I played my part. I gave up my life so that you could escape the penalty of destruction. That's how much I love for you, and that's how much I care about you. So take my yoke. It's easy. It's light. You can handle it. Because I am God, and I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to walk you through the storm. I'm going to walk you through your most difficult day. I'm going to walk you through when the colleges are declining you. When it seems like you can't quite make the varsity squad. The times where you fall when you're trying to do your very best on a dance recital that you've practiced over and over again. I'm going to be there for you when you fail that math test that you knew every answer to, but you made a mistake. I'm going to walk with you on your worst day. And guess what? I'm also going to walk with you on your best day. Because I love you. My burden is easy. My yoke is light. I love you. I know that's hard for the Pharisees to grasp. But I think it's what caused Christ to be so attractive during this day. Why the church was being added to like crazy. Because he did things the right way. although it's important to follow the law, and yes, part of being a Christian is living up to the standards that was set to us by Christ, it's important to do. But we don't do that to just perform a duty. We don't do that just to perform a task. We don't do that just to continue to carry the weight. No, Christ said that there had to be another way, a better way. And He gives us that today. Yes, we follow the law to the best of our ability because it's the right thing to do. Following Christ is all about having a relationship with Him. Having that opportunity to talk to your King, to talk to your God one-on-one every day. Because we need that. We need that in our life because that makes us better. So take my yoke upon you, for my burden is easy and my yoke is light. Now, as we've been studying over the past couple of weeks, we find Esther. Esther was in one of those weighty moments in her life where she had to make a choice. Her people were about to be destroyed by Haman and his evil plan, like we've been discussing. She heard all the negative noise coming from that camp. If she didn't do anything, guess what? Her life would be destroyed. But then she also heard positive noise coming from the Mordecai camp, saying, I love you, I believe in you. This is what needs to happen to save your people, save the Israelites from destruction. I know it requires you going to the king and your life could be taken away, but I love you. Follow this and save your people. Two noises taking place in this moment. Two different points of view. Her life could be taken away either way. She had weight on her shoulders. I think she was in desperate need of the Lord to do something if her life would be saved and the life of her people would be saved too. So guess what? They pray, they fast, they spend time with God, and the next thing you know, she has a meeting with the king. The king understands the full situation finally and saves the day for the Israelite people. No more destruction. Life could be had. She had a weight to carry. She had a decision to make. And she chose to follow God in that decision. And guess what? God took that weight right off of our shoulders and saved the day. Tonight, we have two noises that we can listen to. We can continue listening to the noise of this world, or we can trust in the affirming voice that God would have for our life. So the choice is yours on which you listen to, but take my advice tonight. Listen to God. Listen to the God offering hope instead of unrest. Your life is hard. There's no denying that. But God is saying, I see you. I see you in your weariness. I see you in your pain. I've come to give you rest. I've come to help. The world of idols will offer things that seem like a burden that will be lifted. They say things like, if you have enough money, guess what? You don't have to worry about anything. Last thing I knew, every time I gained more money in my salary, guess what? I'm still worrying about money. So when I hear things like that, guess what? That's fake news. Right? It's fake. It's not true. You can have all the money in the world and still worry about money. That happens. You hear things like, if you're with a certain person, you will be satisfied. Again, that's fake news. You could be with the best person in this world and that person not satisfied. The only person who does satisfy is Jesus Christ, because He understands us in our imperfections, and He came to save the day anyways. You also hear things like, if you live your life without the laws of God, you will actually be free. I know how much following God is. I know the laws that He has set out for you. If you don't follow Him, guess what? You will be free, and you can do whatever you want to do. Guess what? To that I say, that's fake news. That's not true. Last time I checked, when I follow God and I listen to Him and He guides me, that is the most freeing feeling I've ever experienced. Why? Because I don't have to worry about the consequences of following God. Because I know that the consequences of following God is life and life everlasting. I don't have anything to fear. And then the last thing you hear in this world, if you follow your own plan, you will be happy. And again, I say it with me, that's fake news. It's fake news. That's not true. If I follow my own plan, guess what? I'm a football coach somewhere, and I'm upset, I'm angry because I can't get a teenager to do what I ask them to do, right? I'm upset and I'm angry because a kid had an opportunity to catch a game-winning touchdown pass and he drops it, right? I'm upset, I'm angry because I can't win a state championship every year. I'm upset and I'm angry because my defense cannot stop the run. That's what it would be like if I followed my own plan. But by following God and His plan for my life, guess what? I'm more free. I can take pride in what I do. I can enjoy the ride. And I can let my life be used to make a difference in people's life. So who are we following? Are we following the morals of this world, or are we following God? The ideas we just mentioned are easy to listen to because it's things that we want. But it's not always best. So my encouragement to you again, listen to the God who will give you peace instead of the world offering fake peace. Are you tired of fighting the difference between right and wrong? Well, God will give you peace. If you're wondering, should I serve the world or serve God? Well, if you serve God, you will have peace in your life. Are you exhausted from worry? Because I'm a worrywart. God is saying that He can take your burden and that His burden is easy and is light. Are you tired of trying to please the ever-changing morals of this world? Because they're consistently changing. Submit to God, for He is gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Tonight, if Jay could come to the guitar. Now, I know what you're going through. Some of you are tired. Some of you are worn out. Some of you don't know what to believe in. Tonight, my encouragement for you is this. Learn from Christ. Learn from what He has done. Learn from the life that He lived. And learn from His example in this moment. If you don't have a relationship with God, if you decide to follow Him tonight, your life will be forever changed. You'll have peace, joy, happiness. Life's still going to be hard, but you have that spotter who's going to walk with you, who's going to guide you, who's going to help you. Maybe tonight you just need to feel rest for your soul because you are burdened. You are encountering a difficult circumstance, and you need someone to come right now and help walk you through. Tonight, your souls are weary, they're heavy, they're burdened. Christ said He will give you rest. Christ said that He will come to your rescue. Christ said that He will help. And last time I checked, Christ is a man of His word. If we come to God in prayer tonight, we can experience that rest. We can experience that burden being lifted off of our shoulder. We can experience hope for everlasting life. Is that you tonight? Is that you tonight? Christ says, take my yoke upon you, for my burden is easy and my yoke is light. Tonight, we have an opportunity to meet with God and experience the rest that only He can give. Learn from Him tonight.